I really wanted to quit so badly. Like I was working at this 9 to 5, and it was an office job, and the job was great. The job was cool. Like everyone there was fantastic. Like the way I went about to get that job was quite difficult because I had to apply for a recruitment agency. And if you've ever applied for a job for a recruitment agency, you know how unfair it can be. It's like dog eat dog world. You might send in your CV and you might get someone reply to you and tell you that, yeah, we got a job for you. And then 2 days later, you don't hear from them. And as soon as you start chasing them, they just start ghosting you. So sometime, like during that time, it just felt like I didn't know if I was gonna get a job or not. Like I was doing my hardest. I was trying everything and anything, man. Like I had different names, so I'll try and use my name and my last name, and then change my other name and my last name to apply to the same job twice just to be able to get it. So when I did get this one, it was like a blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? Started working there on a 3 month contract, and the first 3 months was cool. Like they gave me the task that they needed me to do. But the thing is, I feel like I'm a smart guy. So the task that they said that was supposed to take about 3 months to finish took me around 1 month. So now I was just there for like 2 months, sitting there in an office with just other people that I'm just meeting, trying to keep my head down just to make sure that I make the money that I need to make. And I have to make it look like still have 2 months of work. So the job wasn't too difficult for me, but I ended up staying there for a year and a half, or a year and 7 months. The people were great. The job was easy, but it wasn't for me, man. Like at that time, I just felt like I needed to quit the job. I need to quit the job because, a lot of the advice I was seeing online was if you're trying to chase something that you want, you just need to let go of everything and then just jump right into it. And at that time, like I guess that I felt like that's what I needed to do, but maybe I was just afraid of taking the risk on myself and going to something that I had no plans. I didn't know exactly how I was going to succeed. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do to, help me make money. So I just felt like, oh, I just don't want to be in this environment. It just felt like, I don't know, man. It just felt like it was not a trap. It just felt like it was lifeless. Like, every time I went to a job, I always asked advice from people that would have worked at that organization. How has it been working there for a long time? And the main consensus from all the individuals that worked there was always that they felt like they should have chased what they wanted to do in real life, or sorry, what they wanted to do in life. Every place that I went to, especially that place, like a lot of people that were there that were older kept telling me that, I wish I went and pursued becoming a chef, or I wish I went and pursued doing this, I wish I went and pursued doing that. So, when you're in a place like that, and I guess at this time I was really young, I was in my mid 20s. I say really young, I was in my early 20s and mid 20s. So I just felt like everyone's telling me what to do, but nobody's telling me how to do it. But I was coming to the point where I was really unhappy. Like, I was really, really unhappy. And it wasn't even about the finances, even though I had a lot of other responsibilities, like helping out with family and so forth, which was the reason why I was staying at the job. You do what you have to do and to support the people you love and all that good stuff. Yeah, I just felt like deep down in my heart, every day that I stayed there, I really didn't want to be there. I felt like some days I was just looking for a reason to just not even go in. Like I would wake up and then just look at the ceiling, my rooftop, and just be like, do you really want to go? And I have to literally convince myself to actually make my way to go to the job. But the mistake was came on the day that I did quit the job, right? And it wasn't a mistake at the time. I won't call it a mistake. I would just call it a life lesson, I guess. One day they offered me a longer contract. We started with, just like I mentioned before, it was just a 3 month contract, and they kept pushing it because they loved the work that I was doing. And they kept pushing it to 9 months, then to a year, and they were going to offer me like a permanent position on the place. And I just remember looking in the mirror and saying, I don't feel like I can do another 3 4 months, a year, two in this organization. Now, mind you, there was something that I really wanted to do, whether it's going in content creation or production or video editing and so forth. There was just things that I knew that deep down in my heart that I would enjoy a lot more. But the thing I didn't know was, if you start chasing this or pursuing this life of entrepreneurship, no one ever tells you to go in there with a game plan. Like, everyone's like, yeah, you should leave this place, da 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 da, and all of those things. No one actually tells you that life is going to continue going whether you like it or not. Like, life is going to do what it does best, and which is come with the good and the bad. And when it came with the bad, I was in a position where I didn't have a lot of finances to help me or remove me from the position of dealing with everything that was bad with it. So on the day that I quit, I remember I had like a job interview lined up. It was a job interview because I didn't quit thinking to myself, oh, let me just quit and have nothing. I was like, let me quit and slowly get myself into the industry of something that I actually want to do. I remember lining up this interview with this guy. I was going to do video editing for him because I kind of studied certain things around that. And I remember it was like a November, December time. And then he pushed it back. He was like, oh, I can't make it. And I was kind of like, what do you mean you can't make the interview? You're the one that set up the time. You're the one that accepted me, invited me on all these things. You're the one that told me all these good things about my CV and so forth. But I was like, you know what? It is what it is. Maybe let me just wait until January. Like, maybe he wanted to go on holiday. Maybe he's got a family emergency. You never know what's going on in people's lives. Wait until January came. I don't know why I put all my eggs in one basket. And this is the reason why I feel like you should never put your eggs in one basket. The guy just stopped answering me. I started sending him emails and emails. He just stopped answering me. He had his number there, called him, left voicemail after voice messages, nothing. And eventually one day I just received an email and he just said, you know what, we've taken back the position. We're not interested in hiring someone anymore. And I was gutted because in my mind I was like, you know what, I stopped doing this job to go into this job, which is actually going to rejuvenate my energy to go into the field of type of roles that I really want to do, right? So at this point I was like, all right, back to the drawing game, back to what it was like 2 years ago when I was looking for work and having to chase down these recruitment agencies because, again, life was doing what it does best, which was life and the issues that came with it, whether it's not just about supporting yourself, but it's also contributing to other people's lives. So I was at the point where I was like, what am I going to do now? I really want to pursue this ideal life of entrepreneurship that, I see everyone talk about online. But at the same time, I still want to be able to live. Like, I still want to be able to just do your everyday things, like go out with friends, like go out to a restaurant and not have to worry so much about how much I need to spend, go out on holiday and not have to worry so much about how much I need to spend on the holiday and just get to make memories for the sake of making memories. And this was the part that hit me where I was just like, oh, I'm kind of in a position where I guess I need to be, but I actually don't have a plan. Like, I really don't have a plan on how I want to succeed in the way I want to succeed. And I don't get twisted, like, I started trying everything, because I had nothing but time to just try everything. And looking at trying everything meant that I had to learn new skills again, and that was the most tedious thing because, in your mind you're like, okay, maybe if I stop doing this thing and I jump into this thing, it's just going to be you're just going to be starting from a running start because your ambition, your desire to want to do it should be enough, right? That's what I felt like, my desire, my want to do it should be more than enough to be able to push me. But man, oh man, those obstacles kept piling up. Learning a new skill meant learning a new language, learning a new understanding, and then even after learning this new skill, then you have to learn how to apply it, and then learning how to apply it was another thing. Like, for my sake, it was about marketing and learning how to create content for other people, how to do certain video type of editing, because I was doing a lot of freelance video editing around music videos. But it's different when you're doing music videos and then you're doing videos for the purpose of trying to create sales and so forth and things like that, and then jumping into this idea of entrepreneurship without having like a real plan ahead. And yeah, eventually I got to a point where I was like, okay, before I can mentally get myself into a space where I can learn something new, I need to have some sort of level of finances that allows me to be able to even purchase new equipment. I need to have some finances that allows me to be able to just do certain things that can boost my energy, because I saw a lot of people fall into depression, and I've seen certain patterns, and this was one of the patterns where you just feel lost, where you feel like you can't contribute to anything that you would like to, and then it gets to the point where you're like, oh, what's my purpose? When you start asking yourself those type of questions, what's my purpose? What do I really want to do? What do I really want to achieve for myself and so forth? So, and I saw a lot of my friends fall into that category and that space and end up being depressed. And I was like, I don't want that to be me. I don't want that for myself. That's not something that I want to experience. So my problem solving skills came into play. It was like, okay, you don't want this, Bar Nation. What do you want to do? What do you actually want for yourself right now? What would be the best thing in a month's time, in a couple of months' time, in 3 months' time, and so on and so on. And honestly to you, the immediate thing for me was get another job and start this whole planning again. And I didn't want to go back to the previous job. Maybe it was because of my pride. Maybe that was one of the things, but I just knew that if I had to do something, it just couldn't be that. I just needed to be in a space where I was more active. And growing up, I saw my mom work at a job for a long time, and seeing them not make the money that they wanted, although they made enough money to be able to get us from traveling from Cameroon to moving all the way to London, which looking back at it, that's a great thing. Like, I don't even know how much they were getting paid at the time, but to be able to afford flight tickets to move from one country to another and then start your life, your whole life all over again, to re-educate yourself into the system, that is a big change. But in my mind, I felt like because that was their stepping stone, like I have to do something where it has to be an elevation of that. So maybe it was just like another added pressure to myself. But I guess, like, coming from an immigrant family, you feel like even whatever they did, they've given you the opportunity to be able to do more for yourself, right? So that's where my mind was. So I was like, all right, cool. Get back to the job searching circuit. I was searching on a daily basis. My money was just reducing as the days were going, as the months was going. And then eventually, I ended up getting a job that allowed me to be able to make some good income. Took me a while, took me a longer time to get this job, but eventually I was able to get this job where it can allow me to just do what I need to do, invest in myself and invest into the things that I wanted to do. So once I was able to do that job, I had to pay some debts that was like, and I never saw myself being the type of person to ever get in debts, because I didn't really spend like that. I guess it came with, it did come with trying to be there for others as much as I could, regardless of how much it affected me, and just trying to do my best to be able to stay afloat, to still be able to keep that dream alive, because I still felt like, wanting to work for myself was something that I'd really want to achieve. But I felt like I didn't understand that there was stepping stones towards getting to that point. There was things that you have to do in between that to prepare yourself to propel yourself into that lifestyle of entrepreneurship, especially the way people sell it. And even in looking into how to become successful or whatever your level of version of successful is, my version was like, freedom of just being able to do anything that I wanted whenever I wanted. A 9 to 5 can definitely get you that, because from the job that I was able to achieve, man, I was able to pay off a lot of debts. I was able to start putting on events. Like I remember, because at uni I used to be part of a team that used to put on events. So I thought to myself, hey, I live in London, why not take the chance on myself? I've got the finances, so there's no more excuses. And I put on this event, and can't even lie to you, man. Just by putting on an event, I was able to make 9% of my monthly paycheck from one event that I put on. I was like, wow, whoa, this is absolutely crazy. Like, believing in yourself and backing yourself can actually be rewarding. But nonetheless, like at this time, I didn't make the mistake of quitting my job though. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, because doing that plus the 9 to 5 just allowed me to be able to do so much more for myself financially. I was able to I don't know, man, just take care of people that I cared about, help out when I could, support family when they needed me to support them, as well as myself. Like, travel. And I feel like, no, I believe this was probably the first. But I remember making not my first paycheck, but my second paycheck from my 9 to 5, and I was like, oh my days, I can actually leave London and see what the other side of the world is like, even if it wasn't the other side of the world, just the neighboring side of the world. I can actually go and visit these other places that I've heard about or I've seen on Google, just to be able to say I've been there, I've seen it, I've experienced it, I've eaten the food, I've drank the drink, maybe to say if I like it or not. I remember, where did I go first? I think it was like Spain or something like that. I went Spain, I went Budapest, passed around France, I went Budapest, Hungary, right? Yeah, I've been there like twice. I've been in Spain a couple of times. Been Amsterdam, like in a few other places, and man, there was like that feeling of joy, like some level of fulfillment, but also there was that feeling of like understanding. Now I know what it feels like to just go all in without no plan, and understand how difficult it can be and how lonely it can be when you do it by yourself. And then also understood the feeling of how it feels to try again, especially, and giving yourself a break and then trying again, but this time going in with a plan, like with an actual plan on how you're going to execute things, and having the finances to be able to try something. And if it doesn't work, you can try again the next month, and you don't have to like feel really bad on yourself because you don't know how you're going to be able to make money to be able to do the things that you want to do. And that to me was really, really important. That was very, very important. I not only did I feel like being financially stable was for me to be able to just do my everyday things. It was for me to be able to take a risk on myself, to try whatever I wanted to try and be held accountable for trying those things. Whether it worked or whether it didn't work, at least I knew that I was able to bet on myself and take those chances on myself to be able to see what would happen. But I say that to say this, like, if you are someone that's thinking of quitting their job and everybody around you is telling you, oh, yeah, you need to quit your job and go into this full throttle, you need to quit your job and go into this and forget what everybody says, I honestly will probably tell you, first of all, ask yourself, what does success mean to you? What does success look like? What are you willing to sacrifice to be able to be successful? And then kind of write that down, write what success looks like for you. And then ask yourself, can your 9 to 5 job carry you to a point where you can slowly create a plan that's going to take you into that next level of whatever you want to do for yourself? Because if you end up like me quitting, and everyone will say, yeah, this is, when you see all these videos of people quitting their jobs and then showing the results of what they did, and what they have, and talking about how difficult it was the first few months. Yeah, it can be worse if you have a lot of other people that you have to look after. So just put yourself in a position where you're like, you know what, maybe let me learn from their mishaps. Let me learn from their mishaps. How do I learn from their mishaps? Maybe let me create a plan, or create a plan A, a tangible plan, and into a field of work that I want to get into. I guess for me, I just had too many options and I had too many interests. So because I had too many options of things that I was interested in, from video editing, from putting on events, from producing music, from doing content creation, all of those things, and marketing as well. It kind of put me in a space where I was just doing too many things at the same time, and I was just hoping one of them would work. Like, I was just doing too many things at the same time. I was doing this and then and one day I put 100% on this, and I'm learning this, then I'm also learning this other skill. And I was doing this thing consistently all the time. And because I was doing that, it got to the point where like things was getting so difficult that I was like, yo, I feel so overwhelmed. Like, yeah, I felt very, very overwhelmed. I just saw two people walk past me. That was crazy. Yeah, I felt very overwhelmed with the information that I was absorbing. And yeah, I remember at one point, like, I had to stop, like, because if I didn't stop, I felt like I would have probably just broken down in pieces or something like that. But yeah, so I say that to say this: if you are someone that is looking to pursue, or someone that's driven, that wants to chase any type of dream for themselves, or whatever version of what success means to themselves, like, I encourage you to first, don't quit your job straight away, because your job can take you very, very far. Your 9 to 5 can definitely change your life if you apply yourself. There's ways to move up and onwards. But when you want to get to that point where you want to become your own boss, you want to become your own employer, you want to become someone that just wants that freedom to be able to do whatever you want, start creating a plan and slowly use the finances you got from your 9 to 5 to be able to execute what you want to do for yourself. But yeah, I just wanted to share that message, and I hope that it helps anyone that's going through the same thing that I did go through myself. And I say that to say that it's very important to look after your mental health, and it's very important to be cautious about the information you absorb. And whoever you're absorbing that information from, make sure to do your due diligence to see exactly how your lifestyles fits their narrative, and to make sure that when you are taking this risk, even if something doesn't work out how you wanted it, understand that doesn't mean that you failed. It doesn't mean that you need to stop. You just have to pick yourself up again, dust it off, be happy that you bet on yourself, and then try again. You're doing it for you. You want to have the better life for yourself. Don't let anyone change your mind about that. Yeah. Anyway, I hope this video helps. Subscribe. Let me know how you guys are dealing in the comment section, where you're at currently, mentally, physically, financially. Well, not financially, but just let me know how you guys are dealing with everything that's going on in life. And yeah, man, keep betting on yourself. Great things definitely gonna come out of it. If you start where you start, the only way is up. Subscribe. See you soon.